Hey guys, it's Oscar G again, and welcome to episode 1. Today we're going to be discussing ethics, especially obviously in construction. Uh, when it comes to ethics, contractors and even some of us project managers have a stigma, that we're just bad. We make unethical decisions, bad decisions. But there is a difference, obviously, between a bad decision and an unethical decision. And ethics obviously has to do with right and wrong. But for a more concise, a little bit better uh, definition, we'll take a look at the definition provided by Merriam-Webster. According to that definition, if you look on the screen I've provided, this is off of their website. It's a definition of ethic. Ethics, plural in form, but singular or plural in construction. The discipline dealing with what is good and bad and with moral duty and obligation. As you can see, there's also a few other definitions, but if you really think about it, they kind of lead towards the same thing anyways. Uh, and so, like it says, in construction, the moral duty and obligation. And to be honest with you, that's really going to be where you need to be open and honest with with the owner, or whoever funded the project, and their representatives, and even your boss, anyone else. You always have to make sure that you have the best interests of everyone, and pretty much not lying, tell the truth, own up to your mistakes, uh, and you'll make ethical decisions listening to that little voice inside of you that knows what's right and what's wrong. Take for instance, there was a project that we were bidding. When I worked with the general contractor, I did help with the estimating also, and the the group of uh, contractors that was bidding, uh, we all kind of knew each other, and so we did work in the relatively same place. It was a state institution, and so one of the contractors actually already done some work on the floor and actually in the general area of where this project was being bid, and so they kind of, well, honestly, they really knew that the walls that were scheduled to remain were framed at 24 inches on center, which per code is not allowed anymore. And so the plans stated, as I said, those were supposed to stay. So we knew better that they were, since they were 24 inches on center, they should be 16 on center. And so we actually sent an RFI pre-bid in order to get clarification. And of course, they said to assume that they were 16 inches on center, that they would remain. So what happened? Well, that contractor had the knowledge. They came in pretty low compared to everyone else. Not significantly low for it to be questioned, but pretty low. And of course, the very first thing they did, without even swinging a hammer, they submitted the change order for knocking down the walls and rebuilding the walls that were framed at 24 inches on center. And of course, that made everyone mad. But the entity pretty much said that, they honestly did not do anything wrong. They bid it the way it was supposed to be bid, which is true to a point. But having that knowledge, they should have shared that knowledge. Just like my boss always says, having the knowledge about something, especially when it comes to, the well-being of the owner or looking out for them, if you know something, you have to say something, because not saying anything is pretty much the same as lying. And that really got ingrained into me. And I really do agree with it. You know, you, although we are also tasked with looking out for the better of our organization, that we work for, we still have to walk that line. You can't build a relationship on mistrust. You can't lie, you know, that will make very many things during a project harder, especially change orders, you know, because if you're constantly lying or trying to hide things, the owner or the owner's rep isn't going to buy um, everything that you try to present in front of them, and they will question it. They will scrutinize it even more. So it not only builds a better, stronger relationship, they're going to like you, they're going to want to work with you again. They're going to be willing to actually hand jobs over without even questioning, the price, as long as you're within the ballpark, because they know they're going to get a good project out of it. and you're going to keep the communication open. Those lines of communication are very important to the trust between the contractor and the owner. And of course, they have their representatives, which usually, project managers on their end, and us, the project managers for our organization, the builder. And you know, bad bad blood between the two just doesn't mix. The projects don't go well. They can easily go over budget. Time will be wasted on a lot of things that needlessly need to have time wasted on. Uh, and as a contractor, there's a few things here and there you can just take care of and just tell the owner, you know what, don't even worry about it. We'll catch you on the next one, whether it's the next job or the next change order. You know, trust is a big thing, and like the definition says, it's pretty much a moral duty and obligation, and I completely see it that way. You know, we have the obligation to keep the owner's best interest in mind, as well as our own organization, and there should be middle ground. It shouldn't be clear cut one or the other. I do understand that once in a long, long time it might seem that way, but I'm pretty sure that you can find middle ground on a lot of things. So, um, concern to you project engineers and upcoming project managers, it is a very, very good idea, like I have said before, to get some industry knowledge, try to intern or go work for a general contractor. Of course, PEs already know that. Because obviously with PE, you're going to be there already. But if you're kind of iffy here and there on some things, ask your project manager, ask for consensus to see, ask a couple people if you need to. If you're not very sure, if you're on the bad side of a decision, an ethical decision or an ethical dilemma, or if you're on the right side of it. If you're kind of on the fence, you can always ask. There's no harm in asking. It's more knowledge, more information will help you make better decisions, not only on this one, but on future decisions where it's going to be, pretty much second nature. It's going to be your knee-jerk reaction to make that decision, whether you have to think about it for a few seconds, or even if it's one of those things you've already encountered and you know kind of what to do by now. So, like I said, don't hesitate to ask. It's better to ask and be more informed than make a decision without having all of the information you possibly can and making a bad decision. Now, speaking of bad decisions, like I have said before, you do have to remember to keep also the best interests of the company, of your organization in mind. So, and there are times when it might seem like you're making an unethical decision, but in the long run, it really was the best decision. And don't be afraid to make those decisions. We all make mistakes. Bigger projects might have bigger dollar mistakes, but when it really comes down to it, like a lot of people say, you have to make the decision for the greater good. Like I said, if you're on the receiving end of a decision, say you have to, there's a contractor or a subcontractor that isn't performing or can't man the work, and you have to, essentially fire them and get another subcontractor in to finish performing the work. They're going to tell you that was a bad decision. You at the beginning might see it as a bad decision because now you have to get another company to come in and finish that work, and sometimes they don't want to take on the work and they'll dismantle it and do it again there to make sure that they know that is per code, or to fix any mistakes, which is completely understandable, don't get me wrong. But like I said, it might seem like a bad decision because you're gonna have to deal with them and getting all their insurances and things like that, any other stuff, licenses that you need from them, permits. But is it better to run off a subcontractor that would have, maybe dragged their feet, install things that weren't installed correctly and per code? And then, either way, you have to come back. If someone has to come back and fix it, you're gonna cost even more money if they, say that they completed the work and, they get paid out and whatnot. But then you have to bring someone else to fix that. It's kind of like you really just have to kind of stop the hemorrhaging of the dollars, of the time, as soon as you possibly can, as soon as you see problems going on. Otherwise, now here you're doing the work twice, and the project is now behind schedule. And like I've said, or like I will say, accelerating the schedule and catching up is a lot harder than keeping it on schedule or even ahead of schedule. And that gives you more slip time just in case, something does happen, something major, even bigger happens. So those ethical decisions sometimes, they'll tear at you. It might take a couple of days for you to figure out the correct decision. If you have the time, that's great, because you have more opportunity to gather information and make sure that you are making the right decision. And as I said earlier, don't worry about making a bad decision. That's not always the case. Like I said, it might seem bad at the beginning, but you also have to think about the greater good. You have to sacrifice one to save the many. Okay? So for everyone out there, I hope you guys stay safe. Don't forget right now in these times to social distance, wear a mask. Me actually being immunocompromised, I always have to wear a mask when I go out. And, like they say, it's not exactly always for your safety, but also for the safety of everyone around you. So please, 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 I urge you, wear a mask, social distance, stay safe, especially out on the field. For those of you that go out to the field quite a bit. Okay. And so with that, we'll end this episode. Again, this was episode 1, ethics. And on the next episode, we'll cover management, and not just project management, but just management in general. And it's maybe kind of what makes a good manager versus a bad manager. So we'll see. We'll see how that turns out. So for now, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for watching this video. If you can give it a like, it would be very much appreciated. And subscribe to the channel and hit that little notification bell so that you get a notification whenever the next episode comes out. And share this with your PEs and other PM friends, or even coworkers there at the office. All right, until next time, this is Oscar G. Thanks for watching.